The morning sun painted the sky in watercolor pinks and golds when Adrian Cole stepped out of his fortress of glass and steel. At 38, he had the kind of life people wrote magazine profiles about. A tech empire built before 35, a nine-figure net worth, a house that looked like it had been designed by a particularly severe Scandinavian robot. Everything about Adrian was precise. His dark hair, slicked back with military exactitude. His slate blue suit, cut so perfectly it seemed to apologize for taking up space. Even his loneliness was immaculate. He had learned 3 years earlier that love was a liability. His ex-wife had taken half his assets and all of his illusions, leaving behind a single sentence he still heard on loop. "You are emotionally unavailable, Adrian.
You always will be."
So he had responded the only way he knew how, by becoming more unavailable. Bigger house. Higher walls. A schedule measured in 15-minute increments. Connection was inefficient. That morning, as he strode toward his black sedan, price tag, more than the average American home, he noticed a small obstruction at the end of his driveway. A child. 5, maybe 6 years old. Light brown hair twisted into an elaborate updo held together by sparkly clips that caught the sunrise like tiny prisms. Pink dress, yellow raincoat 2 sizes too big, pink backpack with a stuffed rabbit dangling from one strap. He recognized her vaguely. The Hendersons' daughter. New neighbors. He had nodded at them exactly twice in 6 months and considered that generous. "Good morning," she sang, as if blocking a millionaire's driveway at 6:58 a.m. was the most natural thing in the world. Adrian gave the briefest possible nod and reached for his car door. The child stepped forward. "Will you walk me to school?" He froze, key fob halfway to the handle. "Excuse me? It's my first day of kindergarten," she explained, eyes enormous and earnest. "Mommy had to leave super early for the hospital and Daddy's in Tokyo, and the bus doesn't come for an hour, but I'm ready now, and I'm really, really excited." Adrian checked his watch. Board meeting at 8:30. Investors flying in from London.
This was not in the plan.
"I'm sure your mother made other arrangements," he said, the words clipped and final. "She said Mrs. Patterson would check on me later, but I don't want to wait alone." Her lower lip trembled, just for a second, then she straightened like a soldier. "Mommy says you seem responsible. And you always wear fancy suits, so you must be important, and important people get things done." Children's logic, terrifying in its purity. He calculated. Kindergarten was 2 blocks away. 10 minutes round trip if he walked quickly. He could still make the meeting. "What's your name?" he heard himself ask. "Isabella Rose Henderson," she answered proudly. "But everyone calls me Bella." "What's yours?" "Adrian Cole." "That's a very serious name. Do people ever call you Andy?"
No.
"Okay, Mr. Adrian." She beamed. "Will you walk me?" "I promise I'll be fast." He should say no. He opened his mouth to say no.
"Fine," he said instead.
"But we leave now." Her face exploded into joy so bright it felt like a physical force. "Thank you. You're the nicest grumpy man I've ever met." "I'm not grumpy." Bella had already started marching down the sidewalk. He caught up in 3 strides. She chattered the entire way about her new crayons, 24 colors, including razzmatazz, about Carrot the stuffed rabbit, about how her mommy saved lives and her daddy sold things to people in other countries and sometimes forgot to call. Adrian offered the occasional grunt, checked his watch 4 times, and somehow still found himself listening. Halfway there, she asked, "Mommy says the smartest people are kind. Are you kind, Mr. Adrian?" The question landed like a dart. "I don't know," he admitted. "Well, you're walking me even though you didn't want to. That feels kind." He had no reply for that. At the kindergarten gate, painted sunshine yellow, she turned and hugged his leg with surprising strength. "Thank you. You're my first friend in the whole neighborhood." "I'm not your friend," he said automatically. "I'm the neighbor who walked you once." "Same thing," Bella declared, and skipped away before he could argue. He watched until the teacher took her hand, then speed-walked home. He arrived at the boardroom 7 minutes late. His CFO's eyebrows nearly vanished into his hairline. Adrian Cole was never late. The next morning, he left 15 minutes early, determined to avoid a repeat performance. Bella was sitting on her porch steps, knees hugged to her chest, reading a picture book by porch light. She looked up and waved as if she'd been expecting him. He told himself to keep driving. He stopped the car.
Get in, he sighed.
I'll drive you. Her grin could have powered the city grid. And so it began. Days became weeks. Weeks became months. Adrian told himself it was temporary. Just until Mrs. Henderson's schedule changed. Just until Bella got used to the bus. But the truth was simpler and more terrifying. He started looking forward to 6:55 a.m. Bella filled his silent car with noise and color. She narrated her life in real time. The alphabet song, which she already knew, the boy who ate paste, the day they finger-painted and she made a tree that looked accidentally like a broccoli. She asked impossible questions. Why don't you have kids, Mr. Adrian? You'd be a good daddy. You're responsible and you have seat warmers. He nearly drove into a mailbox. That's personal, Bella.
Oh.
Invasive. Yes.
Sorry.
A pause. But I still think you'd be good. He dropped her off and sat in the parking lot long after she disappeared inside, staring at nothing. That night he opened a bottle of wine he'd been saving for a celebration that never came and thought about fear. His ex-wife had wanted children. He had stalled, too busy, not enough saved, not ready. The truth he had never said aloud. He was afraid of becoming his own father, a man whose love felt like an occasional quarterly report, distant and conditional. Bella refused to let him be distant. One February morning, she climbed into the car, unusually quiet. What's wrong? He asked before he could stop himself. Tomorrow is Father's Day breakfast at school. Daddy's come and eat pancakes. But Daddy's in Singapore. Her voice wobbled. Mommy said maybe Uncle Pete, but he lives in Colorado. Adrian's stomach nodded. She looked up, eyes shining with desperate hope. Would you come, Mr. Adrian? As my special grown-up man? There will be pancakes, and I made you a card. Every instinct screamed boundaries, distance, protect yourself. He heard his own voice say, "What time?" She squealed so loudly the windows rattled. The next morning he sat at a table meant for elves, knees up to his chin, eating slightly burnt pancakes, while 20 kindergartners shrieked around him. Bella had drawn him in crayon, tall stick figure in a blue suit, holding hands with a yellow blob that was clearly her raincoat. The card read, in teacher-assisted letters, "Thank you for being my friend." He felt something crack inside his chest, something he had cocked over years ago. Miss Roberts pulled him aside afterward. She talks about you constantly. You've given her something precious, Mr. Cole. You show up. On the drive to work, he placed the card carefully on the passenger seat like it was made of spun glass. That evening he did something he had never done. He left the office at 5:30 and walked into a toy store. He bought a plush rabbit that looked like Carrot's twin, and a book called The Bunny Who Started School. He left them on the Hendersons' porch with a note, for Bella. From her friend, Mr. Adrian. The photo Mrs. Henderson texted him later, Bella asleep hugging both rabbits, became his phone lock screen for the next 2 years.
Spring arrived.
Adrian found himself attending school plays, zoo trips, Saturday morning pancakes, when Mrs. Henderson worked doubles. He learned the names of Bella's friends, the difference between magenta and fuchsia, how to French braid badly. He taught Bella what a stock was, how to count by fives, and that razzmatazz was, in fact, an acceptable life choice. One Saturday in April, Mrs. Henderson, Sarah, he had finally started calling her Sarah, invited him for coffee that lasted 4 hours. She had tired eyes and a warm laugh and thanked him for giving Bella stability she herself couldn't always provide. "You've become family," she said quietly. He swallowed. "I love her," he admitted. The words felt like jumping off a cliff. "I didn't mean to, but I do." Sarah's smile trembled. "She loves you too. And I think I'm starting to." The first time Bella called him Daddy was accidental. She was half asleep in the back seat after a long day at the county fair, cotton candy sticky on her cheek. "Love you, Daddy," she mumbled. Adrian almost crashed the car. Sarah reached over and squeezed his hand. "It's okay," she whispered. "We're already there. aren't we? 2 years after that first morning in the driveway, Adrian Cole stood in front of a small group of friends and family in the backyard that used to be cold concrete and was now filled with wildflowers Bella had insisted on planting. He wore a new suit, still slate blue, but softer somehow. Sarah wore white. Bella wore pink and yellow and carried both Carrot and the new rabbit down the aisle as Flower Girl, grinning like she had orchestrated the whole thing, which, Adrian suspected, she basically had. When the officiant asked who gave this woman, Bella shouted, "I do," before anyone else could speak, and the laughter broke the last of Adrian's careful walls into dust. Later, at the reception, Bella tugged him onto the dance floor. She stood on his shoes like she had practiced, and he swayed with her to a song about small towns and front porches. "I told you on the very first day," she said, looking up at him with absolute certainty. "I knew you were supposed to be my daddy." Adrian bent and kissed the top of her head, no longer afraid of messy,